Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, what's up, Vegas? Rolling out on a Thursday. It's the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Oh, yeah, we got a lot to get over today. Beto O'Rourke buyback continues. A Second Amendment guy, part of the Second Amendment Foundation. Oh, yeah, we're going to get into it coming up at the bottom of the hour. It's going to be interesting. This is one of those situations where JD's on my side, so I think it's going to be 2 against 1. His name is Dave Workman. He's going to be joining us. Coming up, we'll talk a little bit about gun control. Dirty dining. You're not going to believe some of these restaurants in Las Vegas that got caught by health inspectors. Some places you might not want to go to, including a McDonald's. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit. Also, bad sushi. Right now, there's bad sushi in my fridge. But guess what? I'm not serving it to customers. We'll get to that coming up in hour number 2. Hour number 3, it's an epidemic, and it continues. Another boxer has lost his life. What does this mean for the sport of boxing? Also a feel-good boxing story, and it involves Floyd Mayweather. And no, he's not battering any other women. He's actually tipping out chefs at a local restaurant. We'll have that story and more with Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. But first, we always love having her on the show. She is a contributor to the BBC and Playboy magazine and writer for Shapiro. She does a fantastic job, and there's so much to get to, including the tragic loss of what an amazing man, Elijah Cummings. We'll get to all that right now with Amee Vanderpool. Amee, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good.
Doing great, Amee.
I hate to start off with something that is sad, but certainly it's a big story, and we all, I would hope we all have had tremendous certainly tremendous, I guess what's the word I'm looking for?
You're looking for respect.
Respect, yes, that's
is the word.
I can't talk this morning.
It's okay.
For Elijah Cummings. What a fantastic man. Even Donald Trump put out a tweet. Maybe it's a little bit too little, too late. But what do you make of the tragic loss of Elijah Cummings, who very recently was doing plenty of media interviews and whatnot? What do you make of this?
Well, it's just so sad, and it was a little shocking to me. I mean, I don't think a lot of people knew he was ill, and so we didn't foresee that coming, and he certainly was working full speed right up until the moment that things seemed to happen. So he's leading one of the committees that's in charge of the impeachment as we speak, and I didn't see him falter or even, look like he was slowing down even remotely, so it was a little shocking to me this morning. I'm just saddened and disappointed. When we lose any great man, any great person who is a good leader, who is kind, and who is sincerely trying to serve their country and make things better for everybody, It's just a huge loss.
I mean, when we look at Donald Trump's tweet, I mean, can you say, okay?
There's no way he wrote that. No way he wrote that tweet. So
you think that someone else wrote that tweet?
He's got a ghostwriter.
Oh, absolutely. It's coherent. It's actually it shows empathy. Yeah, there's no way he constructed that tweet.
Do you expect any foul play involved in his death?
In Cummings' death?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. From all we know at this point, it seems like he had a condition that he was dealing with his heart. I don't know too much more about it at this point, but it doesn't seem like anything has gone awry in particular.
Yeah.
He just seemed to be a very ill man.
And all reports show that he was in the hospital a week ago, and at least what the rumors or speculation that he had some heart problems. And this was a man that was not in the best physical condition, 68 years old, not in the best physical condition, but boy, he has done so many good things for so many people, a civil rights activist for practically his entire life. And certainly we need to remember this man. And you're right, Donald Trump probably did not tweet that out because this is a man who does not have empathy for anybody else but himself. So that certainly would not shock me, but certainly we all need to remember this man, all the good things he did in his career, and certainly will not be forgotten. So I noticed you did something on social media that was impressive to me, and it kind of helps everybody understand this impeachment inquiry and what's going on, kind of an impeachment cheat sheet, as we call it. So can you talk a little bit about this? And because I really like it when you put these things together, and maybe you could kind of give people an understanding What is going on with this impeachment inquiry? What's the next process moving forward? Kind of give us the rundown if you can, Amee.
Sure. Well, as a journalist, I was keeping track for myself of what the deadlines were, who had missed what, who was going to be where, and I thought, people want to check in quickly and they want to know what's going on without having to wade through an entire article. So I'm going to do sort of a bullet point of a day by day, that starts on the day we're headed to or the next day coming, and you can sort of look and see a summary of what people who have testified have done or said. And what the importance of that is, as well as I'm denoting when somebody or people are missing deadlines as well, because those cases are likely going to go to the courts to be determined. And I have no doubt that the courts are going to find that, people have to comply with congressional subpoenas. But, for the time being, we can see who's missing what deadline, what letter they're sending as an excuse for it, and what they're claiming their excuse is.
So we heard rumors, speculation a week ago that there was supposedly a second whistleblower. What is the latest on that? Because I haven't really heard much in the last week in regards to that.
Yeah, I think the reason we haven't heard a lot about the second whistleblower is because the account is pretty much consistent with the first whistleblower. It seems like the second whistleblower is in a similar position within the same type of agency in a similar type of role with firsthand experience as to what actually occurred. So I believe that General Inspector Atkinson met with the second whistleblower in respect to investigating the first whistleblower's complaint, and that may have been how he was able to corroborate a lot of the information therein. But the second whistleblower has retained the same attorney as the first whistleblower.
Okay.
So we know that they have the same counsel, and they're likely within the same type of job. I'm not going to say they're in the same agency. I don't know that for a fact, but they probably have similar roles, meaning they have firsthand experience with people within the White House, or they are privy to actual conversations in the White House themselves.
Gotcha. Okay, Amee, I have to ask you this. We've said that most likely Trump didn't put that tweet out there in regards to Elijah Cummings. I can tell you right now,
Right.
I do believe Donald Trump wrote that letter to the president of Turkey. It sounds like it was from a fourth grader. We're learning reports now that the president of Turkey immediately threw that letter in the garbage. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm being honest here. I'm not being facetious. It read like a sixth grader. I mean, an insecure sixth grader.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
As a journalist, too, I saw it. I saw the tweet with it, and I read it, and I was trying to verify its veracity, before I was going to post it.
Right.
And I was thinking, oh, my God, this could go either way. This could legitimately be his letter, or this could absolutely be a brilliant joke. And I just wasn't sure what to do. But because the fact that it was given to a Fox reporter, it was likely leaked from the White House themselves. What's stunning to me is that Trump would put this letter out thinking that it made him look good in any way. I mean, that's insane to me. His mistakes yesterday in terms of social media are really off the chart. I talk about that in my latest article today on Shapiro, where he's just making mistake after mistake. He tweets that picture of Nancy Pelosi, standing up to him, thinking that that's going to make him in some way look good. It just made her look like a badass.
Yes, she used that picture as on social media as her official Twitter page picture.
It's my official banner too.
Yeah.
It's that good. It's that good, you guys. So, I mean, that was a huge mistake, and that picture would have never seen the light of day had he not sent it out. It was his White House reporters taking it. So he hand-fed everybody that picture. And then, he does the same thing with the letter. Why would he leak that letter to a Fox News reporter thinking that would in some way help his cause or make him look good? It doesn't make sense.
Because he's a
making
moron?
Mistake after mistake.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and he's really off his game. I mean, say what you want about Trump, he's really generally good at handling the media in terms of creating chaos and getting them to repeat what he needs them to repeat. But he's just off his game completely now, which, considering his recent move in Syria, is pretty alarming.
Yeah, and considering his age as well. I mean, he's approaching his mid-70s. And let's talk about Syria. 1,000 troops are in Syria. It's more a relatively stagnant situation. A lot of terrorists are in jail in Syria. Trump decides to send the troops back. It's not costing the United States military much money at all. It could be looked at as a favor to Putin. Why do you think he made this decision?
Well, he claims that he did it because he promised his voters that that's what he was going to do. If he's that clueless in terms of long-term strategy and he's that focused on the 2020 election no matter what, then I don't even know what to say. I mean, at this point, we have how many ISIS detainees who have escaped, who are now out, who are now a problem for U.S. security. We had to blow up our own base yesterday because we couldn't vacate quickly enough and get everything out. So we're now blowing up our own money, our own weapons, our own facilities. And it's just absolute, my grandmother used to call it organized grab ass. That's exactly what's occurring over there. It's just organized grab ass. And now he's sending Pence and Pompeo to do damage control. And Erdogan doesn't care. He doesn't even want to deal with them. So there's the worst part in all of this is the mistake has been made, and there's no pulling, everything back into the Pandora's box that he's opened. Mm-hmm. There's no way to now, regain our position and look strong because we've made ourselves look weak, and we've made it shown to the world who's really running things, which is Russia.
Mm-hmm. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Amee Vanderpool, contributor to the BBC, Playboy Magazine, and a writer for Shapiro. Okay, so Amee, we had former Democratic presidential candidate Seth Moulton yesterday on the show. As you know, he's won medals at war. He's a war hero. And I asked him this question, and I'm going to ask you the same one. I asked him, I said, why is it you think now, of all the things that Donald Trump has done, why is it now that guys like Lindsey Graham and other staunch supporters of the president on the right are now going after him when it comes to this issue? And his simple response to me is this: there's really no political fallout. At least that's what Seth Moulton said when somebody like a Lindsey Graham comes out and attacks him on a stance, on withdrawing troops. So what do you make of that? Do you agree with Seth Moulton, what he told us yesterday? Why is it that so many of these Republicans like Lindsey Graham are now finally stepping up to the plate and saying, no, this is wrong, Mr. President?
Because it's a legitimate error, and it's one that they're not going to be able to easily correct, and it's one that puts American troops and American security at risk, and they know it. And it's not something that they can easily fix. All of his other snafus are sort of partisan arguments that can be made, well, we're doing it for this reason or we're doing it for that. And they can always find a way to spin it that somehow benefits them or they still retain power or their advantage in some way. But this is going to endanger everyone. It's just an across-the-board bad decision. And there's no other way to proceed except to call it out. And the fact that he would do it right before an impeachment inquiry vote where the Senate's going to hold a trial, and Mitch McConnell is now saying, we'll hold a trial. If the House votes to impeach, we'll hold an actual trial. It's not making Trump sort of sit at attention and, pay attention and sort of be good and be on his best behavior. If anything, he's sort of acting out. It's like he's spinning in all different directions, and it just shows how unnerved he is by the whole thing. And but then again, them speaking out against him isn't pulling him in line either. So one has to question if anyone is actually capable of getting Donald Trump in line. Mm-hmm. If not, that's all the more reason why we need to move forward as quickly as possible with impeachment.
Amee, I hate to ask this question, but I feel like I have to because we're talking about Donald Trump, at least in my opinion. Is there any chance that he withdrew these troops knowing that he would get backlash from it for a deflection because of everything that's going on with this impeachment inquiry and everything that's going on with the Ukrainian scandal? Do you think that there is any chance that he actually did this, knowing that it would be controversial and maybe, giving ISIS a boost, but only doing it for his own benefit, thinking that maybe it could change the news cycle a little bit? Because I've heard others, speculating on that.
I think so, but I think more than that, he benefits in some way personally. It's some sort of relationship he has
with Russia,
a
maybe.
Possible relationship down the road with Turkey in terms of, his hotels or land or something else. But Trump doesn't do anything unless it benefits him personally. That's what he's shown us, and that's what he's proven over and over and over. I think for him to just do it as a deflection of the news cycle that's incredibly dangerous. I think it's that, and he saw some sort of a personal benefit he could work on down the line. I think there are a couple things he's operating on, but it's definitely self-interest.
Oh, just awful to think that.
So I got a question about the upcoming 2020 election. Hillary Clinton has made a couple of teases on Twitter about possibly getting involved. Do you think that she is going to announce in 2020 or to run in 2020 anytime soon?
No. I think she knows how to play social media, and I think she's possibly teasing an endorsement and getting involved just on the campaign, but I don't think she's going to run. No.
Amy, what are your thoughts on the Democratic debate on CNN the other night? My thoughts on it were I thought that a couple people had some strong showings. I don't think anybody really moved. I wasn't surprised that everybody went after Elizabeth Warren since she's doing so well in the polls. Other than that, I mean, who are the winners? Who are the losers the other night?
Yeah, I thought it was really status quo. It was kind of blah, and it was just, it was further evidence that we need to pare the field down because we really need to get the meat of the questions, and we need to get to the heart of what people are doing and what they're really campaigning for. I thought that there was going to be a lot more fallout with the decision from the Biden camp to run the Hunter Biden interview, that morning before the debate. And it didn't really hit as hard as I thought it would. It sort of was a wash for everybody. Yeah, everybody seemed to attack Warren, which actually is kind of a compliment. It shows that she's really the guy to beat right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Well, Amy, before we let you go, why don't you tell us some of the articles that you're working on Shapiro? Tell us a little bit about that and where people can find you.
Sure. You can find me at shiro.substack.com. That's the newsletter I write. And today I published an article about how Nancy Pelosi owned Trump yet again. And it's a lot of fun. You can check it out with a lot of video and Twitter references. And you can also check me out on Twitter. My handle is @GirlsReallyRule, and my name is Amee Vanderpool. Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Amy, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks a lot, Amy.
There you go.
Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. There you go. It's Amee Vanderpool, and she is a contributor for the BBC, of course, Playboy magazine. I do read the articles. JD, do you read the articles in Playboy? I do.
Only.
Oh, you don't?
I don't pay attention to pictures. I only read the articles.
Okay, well, now
I'm interested
now you're being facetious.
in the content.
I don't believe that for 1 second. Now you're being facetious.
I do spelling checks on a regular basis.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and I want to continue to review this letter that the president wrote to the president of Turkey. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. I have the exact copy of it. You would think a fourth grader wrote this letter. I will read parts of it to you that I think are just unbelievable that this is the president of the United States. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.